We want to take you live to the Pentagon right now. The briefing underway concerning the latest on those evacuation efforts in Afghanistan. Let's listen in.
As quickly and as safely as possible. In Haiti yesterday, 8 United States Army helicopters, 3 CH-47 Chinooks, and 5 UH-60 Blackhawks from Southcom's JTF Bravo out of Honduras repositioned to launch and support operations in support of Haiti earthquake operations. Those assets have already started moving disaster relief personnel and supplies and supported JTF Haiti's assessment of airfields and roads throughout the area. A CH-47 completed a partial move of about 60% of a field hospital, which we believe the rest of the field hospital will be airlifted today. The U.S. Coast Guard continues its life-saving missions. And again, all of the helicopters involved will be on airlift missions to ease the suffering and to get people and capabilities where they need to be. As you know, the USS Arlington is now underway and expected to arrive later this week to provide additional lift and medical capabilities and serve as another resource for the people of Haiti. Finally, Special Tactics Airmen assigned to the Special Operations Wing are currently augmenting the life-saving and humanitarian aid efforts in Haiti and are responsible for conducting various airfield surveys to determine suitability for bringing in follow-on humanitarian aid via airlift. Thank you very much.
To go over. So here in Washington, Secretary Austin did have a phone conversation this morning with his counterpart in Bahrain, His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, Deputy Supreme Commander and Prime Minister. And this afternoon, the Secretary will be welcoming His Excellency Dr. Khalid bin Mohammed Al Attiyah, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of State of Defense Affairs for the state of Qatar. Here in the building. We'll issue a readout for each of those events later today. And with that, we'll start taking questions. I think, Bob, you're on the phone, yeah?
Yes, thank you, John. General Taylor said that there were 12 C-17 aircraft departed with evacuees over the past 24 hours, which is a smaller number than the previous 24 hours, I believe. My question is regarding, with the clock running down toward August 31st, does Secretary Austin believe that it will be necessary to extend the deadline? I know that it's not his call, but has he recommended that the deadline of August 31st be extended?
Bob, you heard the Secretary yesterday say that we're very focused on making sure we get as many people out as possible and as fast as possible. And we're working on that very diligently, as you heard the General's update. And you also heard the President say that if he believes that there's a need to alter the timeline, that he would revisit that at the appropriate time. What we're focused on right now, Bob, is head down, shoulder to the wheel, trying to get as many people out as possible, as quickly as possible. And I think I'll leave it at that. Tara.
Thank you. A follow-up to Bob's question. Since the President has left the door open to troops possibly staying past August 31st, has Admiral Baisley begun conversations with his Taliban counterpart to make sure that if troops do stay, they will not come under attack?
I don't know with that level of detail what conversations Admiral Baisley's having with his counterpart out in town. Again, our focus right now, there has been no decision to change the deadline. And we are focused on doing everything we can inside that deadline to move as many people out as possible. And if and when there's a decision to change that, then obviously that would require additional conversations with the Taliban as well. But I don't believe that those conversations have happened at this point.
And as a follow-up on the low-pass flights by the F-18s, Do they have authorization to fire if U.S. troops or allies come under attack?
These are not low-pass flights, Tara. They're at altitude. As the general brief, they're overwatch. And in this case, the general briefed F-18 flights, but there are other aircraft that General McKenzie and Admiral Vasely have at their disposal to provide this kind of overwatch. So they're not low passes. And I would only, to your second question, I would simply say, as always, we have the right to defend ourselves, our people, and our operations.
So how many F-18s are there? And I guess was there a specific reason, or did you see something that led you to move them, or was it just, well, we have them, so why not?
No, good question. Just going back, these were not low passes. These are providing air support, and this isn't anything new. As we know, the Ronald Reagan has been there providing support. So these F-18s are flying more than just yesterday. These were continuously in support, and part of the assets that I briefed early on that were always available to the CENTCOM commander.
So they've been providing overwatch since.
Always.
But you mentioned them today because.
Just to give an update of specifically the type of capability that the commanders on the ground continue to have to do, just Mr. Kirby, to ensure that we can provide that self-defense and assets to the commander.
Also, Idris, there had been some reporting out there that there were low passes and that there was some sort of shows of force, and I think we felt it was important for the general to provide some context about what is happening in the air and why, and that's why we mentioned it today. I don't think you're going to get a daily update from us about every aircraft and every flight plan, but we felt that given the context of some of the erroneous reporting out there yesterday, that we wanted to clear that up. Jen?
John, are you receiving credible threats against U.S. forces at the airport that if you don't leave by a certain date, that al-Qaeda or other groups will begin attacking the airport?
I won't speak to intelligence assessments one way or the other, Jen. Obviously, force protection is a high priority. You heard that in the general's opening comments as well. We're always evaluating the threat. It's not only a day-by-day thing, it's an hour-by-hour thing. We know that this is still a perilous environment, and all I can tell you is that we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that we can protect our force, protect the people that we're trying to move on to the airport, and protect their movement out of Kabul, as well as protect the entire operation at the Air Force. You heard the Secretary talk about the need to be able to defend the airport. So it's something we're looking at literally hour by hour.
And General Taylor, British paratroopers are leaving the airport, going into Kabul to rescue and evacuate some of their citizens who are trapped, can't get to the airport because of the Taliban. Why isn't the U.S. doing that?
At this time, as I said, our main mission continues to be to secure HKIA, to allow those American citizens and other SIVs to come in and be processed at the airfield.
And just to follow up, how are you fueling your planes, the C-17s that are going out? Are you now in a position that you have to buy fuel from the Taliban?
The assets on HKIA, on the airfield, are what we need to maintain the operations, all operations, to support the mission.
So that's a no, you're not buying fuel from the Taliban?
There's plenty of fuel sustainment capability at Hamid Karzai Airport. And as you know, Jen, we also have the ability on our own, our logistics ability to fuel our aircraft as needed. Courtney?
I'm still a little unclear about the F-18s. I mean, why do you have armed F-18? Can you explain a little bit more about
Sure.
what Overwatch means, what exactly it is that they're doing or providing?
Sure. I'll let the general talk to that, but sure.
The ability to provide close air support is something that needs to be immediate if a condition on the ground ever required that. So as prudent military operations, we ensure there are always assets available so that the commander, if required, can ensure the time and space of reaction is as little as possible. So
if you need to do airstrikes over Kabul.
We're there to ensure that they can support.
You've been listening to the Pentagon briefing this morning, updating reporters on two situations